What is going on, folks? I am Goat. Welcome back to Warframe. So, I wasn't even going to shoot this video. I was reminded by a new clan member who is a veteran player, um, who literally hasn't played the game since Call of Tempestari. Okay, I was reminded by this player of how easy it is to get lost in the game with all of the changes that have been going on in the game, right? I mean, you figure somebody who stopped at Call of Tempestari, they have no idea about Archon shards, the Archon fights, Styanex, I mean, hell, the Hydroid rework, the Grendel rework, the Frost workups, the Ember workups, the Mirage work. I mean, the fucking list goes on and on and on, man. Um, the fucking, I mean, Christ, the Ocucore augment, the Sporothrix augment, Dante, I mean, Calervo, you fucking name it, man. Hell, the new fucking Sevagoth augment alone. Yeah, Sevagoth released with Call of Tempestari, so that in itself is like, hey, this is a pretty cool augment for fucking Sevagoth. But with all that being said, I was reminded that it's very easy to get lost in the minutia of the game. Now, there are let's put it this way. Anybody who's watched this channel for any period of time is fully well aware that I am not a level cap player. I'm not normally your standard min-max player. I'm kind of more of this reckless, crazy son of a bitch who just likes to run into a mission and just go bonkers. And yeah, you know what? Like, my list that you see here is in no way a basis on how good or bad a frame is. It's just more the frames that I've been playing a lot as of the recent time, and it's constantly in flux. So, like, if you see here, like Revenant, Ureli, Mirage, Ember, Neja is the top 5. I used to have that as just my Archon frames. Now it's just like, well, I know what frames I'm going to use because I usually end up playing support, which is fine by me. But even if I don't, if I run a solo Archon mission, I know exactly what frames to go to, and it's good to go. That being said, like, this person not prepped for Steel Path. So how do you get there, right? What frames are going to be good? I saw this funny ass poll on fucking Facebook, in one of the Facebook groups. I think it was the Facebook Altena Welcome, about, which frame is the worst. And it had like, Caliban, Oberon, Trinity, and Nyx. And 2 of those really surprised me, honestly. Now, are they the best frames in the game? Absolutely fucking not. Are they S tier? Absolutely not. I mean, they're what I would consider mid-level frames. Mid-level, if not extremely powerful, to the point of solo play. Trinity being that one. Nyx is just this god tier frame's fucking survivability, but she's boring as shit doing it. Does that mean she's bad? Absolutely fucking not. She is unbelievably fucking strong with survivability. The fact that you can, just mind control one poor fuck to come start fighting, come start fighting for you. You can armor strip, you basically walk around in a bubble of death, and you can cause everybody to start kicking their own ass with chaos. So it's, like, Nyx is a good time. Now Oberon. I don't know that I would list Oberon as being like one of the worst frames in the game. Oberon needs some tweaks. Like, personally, I think like Oberon or Chroma needs to be very high on the list of the next frame for Pablo to start reworking, because Oberon he's just like Chroma, he's stuck in yesteryear as far as the way his kit is set up. A few tweaks to Oberon, instead of being base numbers, being multipliers or percentages just on the damage output alone, would make Oberon insanely fucking good instead of just kind of pretty good, because like Oberon's absolutely playable, 100% absolutely fucking playable. But how can you get into this whole I just want to survive, right? I mean, first you got to find a frame. What's one of the easiest frames you can get your hands on, right? What's one of the easiest fucking frames you can get your hands on? Mag. 100% mag. What's an easy primary? That's not a Tenet weapon, not a Kuva weapon. Just what's an easy fucking primary to get? I mean, the Amprex is pretty easy, but let's stay at mid-level, okay? Something not too crazy. You know what? Hell, a quest weapon. Of course, they haven't done Call of Tempestari, so actually let's back that ass up just a little bit. I mean, if your stats sticking with melee, you could do that, but that's more for like Korra. And I guess I could do the base Sobek, but I really don't want to do that. By the time you hit the Call of Tempestari, Trumna, actually. Trumna is a solid option. Sounds insane, but Trumna is a solid option. So, again, not using Tenet or Kuva weapons, what's a good secondary? Call of Tempestari, Epitaph, and then the Zorus. Zorus is another, you know? Like, the Epitaph is pretty easily farmed through Railjack missions. The Trumna is just basically building, you know, getting up standings with the Entrati and then getting 20 Saraglass shards from Grandmother and then just a few resources, and this is good to go. And then base mag. Okay? No shards, no nothing. Okay? This turns around. Like, there's no... I mean, fuck me sideways, dude. There's not even augments on this build. Okay? So, given what we have going on here, I think we can easily say... we can run this, because if you're doing the elevator at all, or if you're just selling off old arcanes, you can absolutely turn the fuck around and find survivability other ways. Or find arcanes the other ways. And specifically dissolving old arcanes with Lloyd. Granted, you got to rank up with the Kavia, so you've got to get the Whispers in the Wall. Or you could just run the damn syndicates, and you could do something like this. Okay, so... nothing crazy on this build. Absolutely nothing. Legit. You got an augment mod. You've got a Nightwave aura. Okay. And then you have a corrupted mod. Or a Hull of Ascension mod. Sorry, not a corrupted mod. I'm dumb. Okay. So we have this, right? And then we'll go with my Trumna, right? So let's take this out of the equation. Okay. Let's just completely take this side of the equation. What do we want to use? What do we want to use here? And yes, that says 11 Forma, because life. This is just what we do. Okay? And like, I could do status duration. That'd be funny. We'll do internal bleeding. That'll be hilarious. Okay. And then the Epitaph. So I've got a Riven for the Epitaph, so let's just, let's moot that motherfucker right out of here. Excuse me. What do we have? I mean, it's status based. Let's just do something simple, okay? Something simple. And then the Zorus, yeah, I have a ribbon for the Zorus too. I forgot about that. So anyway, what the hell I had on here? Oh, because I took toxin damage there. Okay. Come on, baby. Get me there. Don't touch me. There's my no-no square. And here's, just because we're not at Whispers in the Wall yet, we'll even take melee influence off for now. Okay? Like, this sounds insane, but proof to the point, okay? So, no crazy fucking mods. If you aren't farming syndicates by the time you're doing Call of Tempestari, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. And Fracturing Crush is literally one of the best fucking syndicate mods that you can get for mag. I mean, it's like, here, fuck you, armor strip, have a nice fucking day. Yeah. So, if we go to Crush, we are at 100% armor reduction. Just with 143% ability strength. That's why this doesn't need to be crazy. And then, obviously, you know, like one thing, because of this build, no subsumes, right? Absolutely no fucking subsumes. None. No prime sure-footed. I mean, let's just be real about this, okay? So people who aren't prepped for the steel path, and this isn't going to be like crazy long. I'm not going to go through like every goddamn base frame and all this other bullshit. Well, let's be real, okay? Like, what's our level of survivability? Level 124 to 129 Grenier. This is basically mid steel path. Okay, they start at 101 to 103 and they go up to 150. Okay, so we're talking mid-level steel path from a base starting point of their level. Okay, what we're gonna do. Just this. Now, Grenier, high armor, they deal a lot of slash. They deal heat damage. Plus, you also have to deal with Eximus, which is kind of a thing in itself, right?
Music, and the enemy calls for a
Now,
song.
focus schools, personally, like, I goofed whenever I first chose a focus school, and I chose Madurai, which isn't a bad school, but when it comes to self-sustainability, Zeneric. And then, if you're really just impatient as shit like me, build some fucking large energy squad restore, get your energy up. Okay? You can start a mission like this. Like, we're gonna see. It's, like, this is just gonna be a thing. Okay? Okay, so we have 380 energy. That's all we got to work with, baby. Cool, love my life.
They have just shut down all systems. I'm
Where
sending
we at,
life
fellas?
support capsules your way.
I mean, yeah, is it some chip shot shit? Sure. I mean, the general goal is to shoot people in the fucking head. But see, bye-bye. This is no Riven. I mean, this thing just blows people up. See, so this is good, right? This is solid. Here, hold on, guys, come here. Now, let's armor strip all these douchebags, and then we'll just, you know, throw the Zoras in here. Like, seriously, again, if you've done Call of Tempestari at this point, you've probably done the Thermia Fracture event enough to at least get a Naga Morgan Shatter, I would fucking hope. If you haven't, then that's definitely a goal. I mean, like, fucking bye, fellas.
Support incoming.
I mean, like, how bad is it with a frame that can armor strip? And all you need is an augment mod to do it, and she's very fucking sustainable.
I've delivered a life support capsule to the area.
Kind of forgot a step there. It's fine.
More time.
But see, these are all no ribbons. I mean, the craziest thing I have is a fucking, you know, is power drift and a fucking augment mod. Yeah. Like, and I'm having no problems. But if I can do this with base mag, right? Just one of the starter frames, for Christ's sake. And mag is no punk of a frame. Oh, go ahead, shoot me, motherfucker. What the hell do I care? Here, come here. Yoink. Go ahead. Shoot me now, bitches. Yep, shoot me. It's so bad. They're trying. Oh no, they took my shields. What? Not anymore. I mean, like, just prime with damage, right? Prime, you know, like here. Armor strip them. Oh, I thought there was somebody still there that was alive. I'm sorry. Do it. They pull them to you. Prime them. Polarize. Have a little fun, and then
Another
Zorus.
life support capsule is now available.
Oh, well, you know, it'd probably help if I actually hit my fucking melee, wouldn't it? And this isn't even with the good shit, right? This isn't even with the crazy good shit. Oh no, she didn't like that. Bro, how did you even live? I mean, don't. This is just the epitaph. Oh no, a Jade Eximus. What? Yeah, bro beans. How you doing? People making all the complaints about Jade Eximus. I don't get it. Like, how hard is it to move? bud? How you doing? How you doing? Seemed like it's a great concern. Oh no, the Acolytes. It's absolutely no knock, by the way. I swear to God, this is not me making fun. This isn't me belittling some of these, you know, problematic issues. Oh, hi Malice, how are you? Here, take some of that, big boy. Alice is dead. I'd like to know where that Jade Xmas is. Oh, he's still there.
30-second warning.
Ain't there no more.
The raid is off to a successful start.
Base Mag.
When you need it, extraction is ready.
Look, this all comes down to
Tenno,
basic playstyle.
extraction is ready.
Okay? Which is why I absolutely am adamant that this is... Okay, I'm literally just choosing stupidity at the moment. Guys, stop. Okay. Wow. Okay, so let me go this way. Yay, we like that. Ah. How do you get yourself prepped for the steel path? Well, you gotta understand armor's a problem. Shields can be a problem. You know, obviously everything being 250% higher,
You are running out
it can
of time.
be a little
Consider
problematic because
extraction.
all of your builds from the base star chart are basically useless. I mean, unless you were doing power creep builds, you know, while you're on the base star chart, just trying to be a little more extra, you know, like, it's not really going to be a thing. So it's not just
I've
the
delivered
frame,
another
it's the
life
weapons,
support
it's how you,
capsule.
it's the shit that synergizes with you, right? And I'm using a base frame, and you know, I'm using a weapon that's basically available after Call of Tempestari. I'm using the Deadlock Protocol weapon, which is the Zorus, and then I'm using the Trumna from fucking Deimos. I could go in there and use the Cedo if you want me to. I don't give a shit. I could go and use the Amprex. It doesn't matter because I'm using a frame that's armor stripping. So she's going to fuck shit up. But how do you figure this out, right? How do you really maximize some chaotic base gameplay for this frame? Okay. Well, what does she want? This is where everything starts with the tinkering process, okay? So she's got a passive. Nearby items gravitate toward Mag's for easy collection. Good time. Not bad. Pull, yank enemies to you, fuck them up. It's a good time. Magnetize. Put a big bubble on them. If you're standing inside of it, you get some protection, and if you're, you know, anybody inside of it just gets fucked up, you know, and then some. Polarize. Okay. Damage multiplier by anybody who's been affected by it. You hit them with a little bit of magnetic damage, which these days magnetic is not that bad, albeit this isn't a lot. And we have Crush, which is basically pick people up, crush them with magnetism, and gain overshields in doing so. Now, with her augment, you can armor strip with very little ability strength. But specifically look at the stats, right? So pull once range. Okay, and it does damage. The damage is minimal, so don't focus on that. Magnetize. Once duration. Also once range. Also once ability strength. Right? Polarize. Most certainly wants range and duration if possible. Crush. You absolutely want a little bit of ability strength. Just, you know, in that 140 to 145 range, you're going to be good to go. Okay? But you absolutely want just a little bit of ability strength. And you definitely want range. So we know we want range, duration, you know, an augment mod, and some ability strength. Well, what do we have here? We have some duration, it's 130%. We have some efficiencies because we're not working with a lot of energy, so we have to work on that wherever we can. You know, we have the max energy we can get with a base mod, right? We get shields, which for her is a good thing. Vitality is actually not necessary unless you're having problems. Truthfully, you can get away with just running adaptation if you're careful. If you are careful, that's the big one, right? You know, stretch for some range, right? We're not building anything crazy into this. And then intensify, power drift. This is a no forma build. This is an Axillus adapter build. That's it. That's all that's invested in this motherfucker. Axillus adapter and then farm time to get yourself to max rank on the syndicate that has fracture and crush. Now, energize is probably the craziest thing to get, depending on when you come into the game. But if you get yourself to rank 5 with the Kavia, you can roll the dice with the Plains of Eidolon phosphor trading So basically, any arcanes that you have extras of, just go sell that crap for phosphor unless you have a chance of making plat on it. Then you can turn around and buy energize if you're post Operation Belly of the Beast or post any other operation that has this available. Arcane Blessing, personally to taste, just to gain a little bit more health. And this is why I say you can technically run without Vitality. Because it's going to give you 1200 health. So if I take Vitality off, she's got 280. So it's going to be 1480 health. Right? So you don't even need Vitality. The only thing that Vitality's on here for is honestly to give you a buffer for toxin procs. That's it. 100%. That's the only reason it's here. Is there better ways to build this? Sure. But you just saw me take on Ophelia Steel Path with base mag. Okay. But how do you build the guns, right? 72% crit, 4.8 multiplier, 66 status. What's the focal point of something like the Trumna? It has horrible reload time. Okay. That's a given. Without primary merciless, it's 5 goddamn seconds. So primary merciless is kind of a must. It also has horrible recoil, so stabilizer is also kind of a must. Now you can get around this by using primary dexterity and stabilizer, and it has absolutely no fucking recoil, which is a good time. Craziest thing on this build, aside from prime shred, you can just use shred. I'm telling you right now, you can. Rhyme rounds. That one's kind of a pain in the butt because it's a nightmare mission only, if I remember correctly. I could be incorrect, but I believe that's where it is. You know, 100 munitions you have falling at your ass from doing Plains of Eidolon bounties, galvanized chamber, just do some arbitrations. You can trade for it pretty cheap these days if you really want to. Malignant Force falls out of the fucking void like it's just falling out of Vor's ass constantly, so it's a good time. Stabilizers is easy to get. Internal bleeding isn't even that hard to get. You know, and like I said, base shred will do the job. Shred is also, if I remember correctly, also a nightmare mod. This is a straight viral fire rate, but here's where it becomes fun. You have to look at the entirety of a weapon. This thing is crit and status heavy on the alt fire, which is why you see big red crits coming out of this motherfucker, because it's a bunch of, it's like dropping a fucking 4th of July finale box at people whenever you alt fire. It just hits everybody in the crowd, nobody likes it. So you build into, you do build into the status, but you also build into the crit by coming in and getting corrupted mod critical delay. Just saying. Not a crazy build. A lot of forma, but I mean, obviously, as you see, you know, the 11 isn't even necessary on this motherfucker. It is helpful, but it's not necessary. The Epitaph. You take my Riven out of the equation, it's 3 forma. It's not super high investment. You don't necessarily need prime pistol ammo mutation. Just pistol ammo mutation will do the job. Much easier to get. Galvanized shot also goes hand in hand with running arbitrations, which truthfully, if you're just getting into the steel path, that's where you want to go. Arbitrations. You get endo, you get Vetus essence, and you can go trade that shit in and get these galvanized mods, which then you can use the endo that you've just made to go rank these bitches up, plus any other big mods that you've got. So, you know, Augur Seeker, again, and we're talking Plains Eidolon, so good time. Not even necessary, as you saw. Like, it wasn't like some OP thing. You could just put, like, heat on here if you wanted to. Just saying. And granted, you know, yeah, I mean, yeah, you definitely just stick, like, you know, Scorch on here. No problem. The Zorus. Killing Blow, not hard to get. Corrupt Charge, another one of those, you know, corrupted mods. Gleaming Talon, easy one to get. Astral Twilight's the harder one to get. Gleaming Talon is a pretty easy one to get. Whirlwind comes out of the void. Sacrificial Steel and Sacrificial Pressure, if you want to use both of those are from the Sacrifice pre-Call Tempestari. You know, a couple of 60/60s. Again, these are not hard to get. Volatile Quick Return, if I remember correctly, comes from the Keladathame assassination. It's one of the mod drops from there, if I remember right. These are all things that make this mod and make this weapon exceptionally fucking good. And then by the time you get to Whispers in the Wall, then you get to do some, you know, nutty bullshit like this, you know, and come back in and say, hi, how you doing? Put your, you know, get some rivens as you go along, and things start to get really fucking fun. But you don't need rivens. You don't need crazy shit to do this. I could take this build with no rivens all the way to the Zeraman. No problem. It will do it. Does it take longer because I'm running lesser powered setups because my Rivens aren't on here? Absolutely it does. I'm not going to front like it doesn't. But it doesn't take away the fact of what these fucking weapons are capable of. And these are just 3 weapon choices. There's so many fucking available weapons in this game. Even weapons that people fucking think are absolute dog shit. You know, the Tigress. It's very powerful. It's a pain in the ass, but it's very powerful. The Stephalos, surprisingly, it packs a punch for what it is. The base Sobek is just fine. The Shidu is okay. You know, I would love to say the Probosa Cernos is still OP as shit, but when it got its nuts cut off on the ammo nerf, it's good in small doses. Prisma Lens, given the fact that it's got its own ammo mutation built in, and you can build on top of that, Prisma Lens is actually pretty damn solid. You get that from Borrow. Depending on your mastery rank, I mean, we're talking, you know, Incarnate weapons out the ass if you're willing to, you know, farm that shit. Not Incarnate Genesis either, just Incarnate weapons. Fenmore, Felarx, Latum, Inodem, Kratos, just those alone. You know, the Rauta, one you do, you know, you can get while you're farming, you know, for Kalervo, so good times there. The base Phantasma is a goddamn war crime, so obviously the Phantasma Prime is also a war crime, and the base Phantasma is just in the ship's market. You know, the Nadaruk from the New War, exceptionally good bow. Ignis Wraith will definitely do the job. It doesn't like people. Get this from Borrow Katir, it's a good time. Base Fulman, also a solid weapon. Base Arcaplasmor, I mean, base Exorgist. I could go on and on. Base Evensong. You know, hell, the base Corinth isn't so good. You know, the Convectrix is really good. Cernos is not bad. Not great, but not bad. Cedo's a really solid weapon. Bubonico is just brutal. Funny enough, if you can get a Riven, the Baza Prime is actually surprisingly not terrible. Okay. The Amprex, even some people that will shit all over the fucking Exultra.
Navigation has been updated with
The
new
Exultra is just fine.
invasions. Chaos is
You
spreading.
must have a mutation mod on it. There's no getting around that. But aside from that, no, the Exultra is just fine, especially if you don't have better options. So don't listen to a bunch of YouTubers that want to shit all over weapons that you like. Okay? Just don't. There's no point. Don't let people shit on your fucking hopes and dreams in the game, okay?
Tenno,
Oh
there's
my
a
God.
time-limited mission alert
I
available.
really do
Check
need to just set
navigation.
myself on creator mode. I keep forgetting. But frames, right? Like, just frames. You know, everything about frames is to taste and what their functionality is. You know, that's the big home-hitting thing about this part. God, she got that goddamn... I don't know why everything preset to the noble animation. It's so dumb. You know, so like... every single frame in this game does have potential to absolutely go onto the steel path and kill. But it really comes down to what works for you. What is your playstyle? And that's where the hard part comes in. Because it's figuring that out. That's truly the difficulty behind getting into the steel path and then moving forward. Because I can't tell you what works for you. You know, there's Caliban mains, Hildren mains, Loki mains, Grendel mains. You know, hell, there were Grendel mains prior to Grendel getting reworked, and Grendel was dog shit back then. Didn't really see Hydroid mains until recently. You know, there were some Frost mains out there, and now Frost mains make themselves look really good because they were ahead of the curve when Frost was bad. You know, there's some Equinox mains, there's Dante mains, or hell, I've fucking seen Chroma mains, and that one hurts my head. Baruch mains, I get that one. Haro mains, 100% understand that. Hell, you know, especially with the rework of Naros, yes. I'm already seeing people with high stats on Jade. You know, Korra's exceptionally good. Kalervo, Lavos definitely has its functions, no doubt about that. Yeah, I mean, Limbo's hurting. Loki, as much as people say Loki needs a rework, Loki still works just fine. Okay, Loki 100% works just fine in the game. Now, would a rework hurt him? No. There's a couple of little tweaks here and there on Loki that would make him so much better. Obviously, we just saw Mag, so Mag Prime is even better, just by proxy of having some buff shit. Mesa, Mirage, both very... I mean, Mesa's... I would almost fair to say near incredible. Mirage with the light rework is great. Necros, for what he does, very good. Neja, throws up some armor, slashes people that gets close to him, doesn't like dying. It's a good time. Nidus definitely doesn't like dying. Nova has, for my uses, very select uses, but Nova has some very, very interesting applications in the game, to say the least, and is very good at doing so. Nyx, God tier level survivability as long as you don't do anything stupid or have a really bad build. Oberon, outdated, still usable. Octavia, broken. Boring, but broken. Rhodia, unbelievably good frame. Corvex, I'm starting to see Corvex mains. Because that new augment and the armor stripping. Personally, I think it's a little meh, but some people don't, and that's fine. You know, Revenant, yeah, as long as you have Mesmer Skin, you ain't dying. Mesmer Skin and Rolling Guard, that's literally all you need, and some energy. You know, Rhino. Once they bumped up, you know, to where you could start getting in the millions on Overguard, that started kind of changing the game. And then the Jade Eximus showed up and started belting that shit away really quick. Saren is incredible. There's no getting around that. Sevagoth with his new augment is damn good. Stynex, excellent squad support. Titania, I'm going to get there very quick. Trinity, very good. Valkyr, I have one good ability, but I can't die when I'm using it. You know, Vauban, area controller. That's the best thing I got. Vauban, he's not bad, but he's not amazing. Volt, Eidolon Hunter. Varuna, she's got some very, very interesting applications. That's literally the best way I can put it, because you can be an offensive player very, very much so with Varuna, but she's very good with sneaky shit. So I've got a cool spy build for her that works really well. Wisp, no question. She's another one of those incredible squad support frames. Wukong, great frame for people who need something easy to run. Zaku, if built properly, Zaku is fucking great. Because it doesn't matter what fucking weapons you have. You could have dog shit on there and you're still going to do just fine. Ureli. I'm not going to say Ureli is incredible, but Ureli has become a great Warframe simply by an augment. And if they'd have just done it as a tap hold ability from the begin with, instead of making us all wait on, you know, the augment, I think Ureli wouldn't have gotten near as much shit to begin with, and we could save a mod slot, but here we are. And then we're down to Zephyr. I mean, seriously, Zephyr is so slept on, it's ridiculous, and I think it just comes down to her passive of she's just a anti-grav frame. So her movement is just very seemingly feeling slow, and you have to really keep up on keeping her third ability up, because it's just like maces. You can get meleeed, but you're not going to get shot very much, if ever. Like, all of that sounds all fine and well, but what fits you, right? What fits you? Like, tried and true survival frames that are just super easy to deal with. Citrain. That's a super easy one. Dante, Frost, Garuda, Gauss, Paro, Anaros, Calervo, Mag, Mirage, Neja, Rhodia, Revenant, Stynex. Well, Stynex requires an augment, but still, Titania's pretty good because she doesn't like dying very much just from her status immunity, but she can die. Trinity requiring 2 augments makes her a little bit more interesting, at least for, you know, that Steel Path build that I showed a few months back. Wukong, Ureli, and Zephyr. Those are like super easy build frames that just don't like dying. I still can't believe I can say Ureli and keep a straight face. But I mean, like, this is the whole thing I talk about all the time, and believe me, it's not me trying to preach and trying to tell you guys, you know, oh, just get good, bro. It's none of that bullshit. I hate that bullshit, honestly. I hate that whole, oh, just get good. It's a talent, it's a skill issue. No, it's a learning curve. Okay, the Steel Path is a maximum learning curve. If you spend a bunch of time on the base star chart, farming resources, grinding out, you know, arcanes, you know, from Plains of Eidolon, stuff like that, or any other locations, you know, like any of the free roams, and then all of a sudden, you finally decide, you know what, I'm going to finally just beat the base star chart, I want to see what Steel Path's about. It can be a bit of a shell shock. It really can. You're talking 250% more health, 250% more armor, shields, 100% more, or plus 100 level, 250% more enemies, and then a good amount of resource drops to boot, which is the bonus. And you get an Acolyte every 3 to 6 minutes that shows up and wants to fucking murder you, which is like a stalker on steroids. So, yeah. Steel Essence from Acolyte's absolutely worth it because you can buy crap from Teshin every week. You can buy a ton of Kuva that way, or not a ton. You used to be able to buy a ton. You can buy some Kuva every week. But this is where the tinkering comes in. This is understanding the basic mods that you need in the game. Mods that you need in the game. Any of the galvanized mods, just own them all. Rolling Guard, Narrow-Minded, Overextended, Blind Rage, Transient Fortitude. And occasional builds, Quick Thinking. That's an interesting one. There's a few of the drift mods that are really good, like Cunning Drift, Coaction Drift, Power Drift. 60/60s for all the weapons. Those are super big because you can minimize the amount of investment that you can put in, but still have good enough output damage to be a casual Steel Path player. And most of the time, that's what most of us are. Casual Steel Path players. There is the group that loves going to level cap, and that's great, and they love min-maxing the shit out of their builds. That's awesome. I'm happy if that's the way that you play. I truly am. I'm not one of those guys. Like, my Octavia is probably the closest thing to a min-max build you're going to find in my entire fucking arsenal. And I know I could easily take her to level cap. I just don't have the patience for it. Sit there and spam crouch for fucking, 2.5 hours. It just doesn't fly for me. Okay, I'm just putting it out there. Well, 2.5 to 5, depending on where I'm at, but still, the point still stands. Okay. But I mean, that's the point. You got to find the frames that you know have functions. So you research the augments. Wikipedia is a great tool for this game. Research what the augments can do. Seriously. Look at what the frames can do, and then start looking at the syndicates and finding the mods, and then just search the mod on Wikipedia. Just be like, hey, what is this? Oh, armor strip. What do I need to get this? You just saw what base mag did on the Steel Path. I mean, simple. And I'm not running like super OP setups as far as the weapons. Like, good. Get a solid primary, a good solid secondary, and a pretty damn good, melee. And the melee comes from a fucking, the melee comes from the Deadlock Protocol, comes from a quest. So you get it for free by finishing a quest. And if you sold it, God be with you, because then you gotta go farm the damn thing through some arrows. So, hope you didn't do that. There's nothing crazy about getting to the Steel Path. The big kicker comes to asking for help. Because if you're struggling, rather than getting yourself burnt out by the struggle, ask for help. There's a lot of people in this game that get to the Steel Path, they get shell-shocked, and they're just like, man, fuck this bullshit. I can't do this. This is crazy. I've talked to plenty that have come back only when quests hit, just so they can do the quest and then leave again because they don't want to fuck with the Steel Path. It sounds nuts. But at the same time, I understand their perspective. If they just can't wrap their head around, I mean, you're talking about players from like 2015, 2016. You figure the major damage reworks have come at 2020 and then this year. Okay, so like anything pre-2020, there was a whole different range of shit on how you built frames and how you built weapons and what frames were, more meta in the game and what frames were more dog shit. And the fact of how many more frames there are now just muddies the waters for people who step away and come back, and it makes it just that much more confusing for people. So anybody who's shitting on someone for not understanding, even though they're a veteran player, screw you. It's rude. Like, I've been playing this game for, over 4 years now, okay? And I'm mastery capped, and I just fuck around and find out with this game constantly because I love to do that. But shitting on people because they don't understand what the fuck is going on rather than being the helping hand, this is a PvE game, okay? This is an MMO PvE game, so we're not fighting against each other. We're not measuring dicks against each other. We're not competing with each other. We're all here trying to help each other. That's the whole point of the community. So be a part of the community and help or shut the fuck up, right? That's the two best ways you can approach Warframe. Either be helpful or shut up. There should not be a middle ground of toxic assholes in there. I know that there are. There's nothing I can do about it, and I'm not trying, except for simply saying, if you're a toxic asshole, screw you. Be a helper. Because the more people you help, the better experience you're going to have going into pub missions. Truth be told, I have run into people that I've helped before. In public missions, not friends with them or anything. Just randomly, a year later, I've helped somebody with a build, and I see them running that build, and I'm like, oh, like, it's fucking awesome. It's like, what are the odds? But it's great. And I'll be like, oh, I know this name. How are you liking that build? And they're like, oh, I fucking love it. Man, I'm so glad you helped with that. I've had people do that with me. I had plenty of help from Dranka when I first started, inside of my first year playing this game. And he really helped me kind of open the Pandora's box for tinkering, which is why I do what I do now. But don't worry, if you're struggling getting into the steel path, you'll get there. But don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to really kind of start researching why weapons are as popular as they are and why some are shit. Because sometimes shit weapons might actually fit your style. Like the Stephalos is not a popular weapon at all, and it can kill. The Rauta has function with certain frames as a stat weapon because of its combo function. It's not the greatest killer in the game, but it definitely has some function as a stat building weapon. So just putting it out there. So enough of the preaching and everything else. Seriously, if you have any questions, drop me a comment. Okay, I'll get you in my Discord. We'll chat it up. I don't care, even if it's just via texting in my Discord. We'll chat it up. So on that note, folks, I want to thank you very much for watching. As always, we will catch you in the next one. All right.